Alright guys, I know it's been a couple days since we've done a video. Sorry for the downtime, but we kind of don't have much going on right now. I haven't had any parts to work with. Finished up dry decking the heads and finished the trans dump install, but really didn't have any footage to make a video. So today we are finally, our engine block is ready and I'm on the way to pick that up. So we'll have some footage of picking that up, and then we'll start engine assembly, and you'll see, what goes into that. Maybe we can get the short block together on this video, and we'll have some spool up video and trans test data, trans dump data, and all that to share in the next couple days. So don't forget to like and subscribe, follow along. Thanks. Here we are, guys. Finally made it. Long, exhausting drive. This right here is my kind of people, though. This is Michael Hicks' spot right here. That's a shop right there where he does all his machine work. We finally here to pick this thing up, so we'll be back in business here shortly. This is where you pick up a block for a 2,500 horsepower small block Ford, in case you're wondering. All right, guys, on the highway, as you can see, just left Michael Hicks' shop. See what time it is? Got a 5-hour ride home. Just me and my lonely engine block. So should have some engine build footage for you, and here coming up as soon as I get this thing home and unloaded. Get some sleep. Got to work tomorrow, so I'll be home at like 3 in the morning. But I mean, this is just par for the course for racers. This is how we live, pretty much. All right, so we finally got the motor back, as you can see. So we're gonna start assembly. Got to file some rings. I got some total seal. I got a gapless second ring that I'm putting in this motor. I don't like the gapless top rings because they just can't withstand the heat, and they don't seem to last very long. But I like them for a second ring. Just keep some of the alcohol out of the oil, and they seal up a little better, I think. So we're gonna get started filing rings and try to get this short block together here most of the way. But I mean, any of you guys that have built engines, but they always come with the rings come with a guide as far as how wide of a gap you want to run for ring gap. The other good thing about gapless rings is the ring gap's not that vital because they offset the ring gap, so there's no gap regardless how wide you file it. So you can file them a little fast, if you're off by 5 or 10 thousandths, it's not a big deal. As long as it's got too much. If the gap's too tight, then it'll butt the rings and break the piston, and everyone will know. So I always say you can run them with the gap too loose for a whole season, but if you can only make one pass if the ring gap's too tight. So I always tend to lean to the loose ring gap side. These say 9 thousandths per inch of bore for high boost 30 plus, which that's beginner boost 30. That's like first pass out. So we're gonna run somewhere in that vicinity, which will put us at like 37 or 38 thousandths ring gap on the top. I'm just gonna show you guys that aren't familiar with what gapless rings look like. These are the old pistons. Well, these are the pistons I'm putting back in it, but these are the old rings. I tried a gapless top ring and they didn't hold up real good. But a gapless top ring, as you can see, is 2 pieces. It's got this little filler ring. So when the rings are collapsed in on the piston like that, you can see the gap is right there, but the other ring, the secondary ring, fills that gap. So it gets a complete seal all the way around. On the other side here, you can see the gap right here in the second ring. It's kind of hard to see, but there's a gap in that second ring right there. But it's it's overlapped by the top ring. So there's basically the point is, it makes a full circle no matter how you look at it. So if you gap the gap that wide, it doesn't matter because that little filler ring closes it off anyways. And that's why they call it a gapless ring. But I don't like running them on the top because, as you can see, compared to a conventional ring, this little filler ring is tiny. It's super small compared to a conventional ring. For comparison, here's a, let me see here. There's a oil ring. Here's a conventional ring by comparison. So these little filler rings are super tiny. That's why I don't like to run them on the top ring, because they won't hold up the heat very well, and they get a lot of heat on the top ring. So here's a couple of rings from the old combination. These are from the pistons we're putting back in actually, but they've been previously ran. So this is how you can test a ring to see if it's lost its tensile strength. You twist it like this and it goes back to shape, right? So that ring is still good. It's got good tension. This ring has lost its tension. You see, when you twist it, it kind of stays in that orientation. That's when you know they're not any good anymore. I mean, a good ring, if you twisted it that much, it would probably break. When they've been really hot, they lose that strength, and that makes them flexible like that, and that's why they don't seal good. You gotta gap all the rings, other than the oil rings. Generally, you don't have to mess with those. I verified the oil rings, they ain't gotta be gapped. This is the little filler ring for the gapless ring, but you still gotta gap it. Right now, I put it in the cylinder. It's actually overlapped by about 20 thousandths, but I'm gonna cheat a little bit and use the grinder. Use a grinder to cut a little bit on it. Speed this process up some. All right, guys, we can see we got all the rings filed. These ones here, you can see that top gap really clear right there. These file 38 thousandths on this engine, on the top ring right there. What I do is I take an old piston and just leave the bottom ring on it, and I use that to square the rings up in the hole. So you can just kind of start the ring in there. You see it's all crooked and everything in there, and then I just take the old piston, slide it down until that ring hits the cylinder, and that'll square it up in the hole if you don't have a ring square tool. But then you just check it with the feeler gauge. I cheat a little bit. As you can see, I got the old handy dandy grinder. I'm an auto body man, so naturally I take the grinder and get them close to within a couple of thousandths, and then I hit them I clamp my flat file on the engine stand there and just hit them with a couple strokes across the file and get the ring gaps squared away. So that's all we can really do today, because I got to get some main bearings hopefully somewhere tomorrow. So we'll have the short block together tomorrow. Got my buddy Brian Harper here helping. You guys, I'm sure, see him comment on Facebook and on the YouTube channel. Him and his little boy, local supporters, always hang out at the track, help us out. You know, good crew guys, got to have them. But hopefully we'll have main bearings tomorrow if I can find some. Get this short block buttoned up, get some heads on it, and maybe we'll, well, I ain't gonna have a lot of time tomorrow, because tomorrow I gotta go film a race in Mexico. But by Sunday, we should have some smoke. So maybe we'll go through, you know, first startup and seating the rings and that kind of thing Sunday. Maybe we'll get some test data on the trans dump early next week for spool up and see how it spools without the dump active, with the dump active. See how much change that makes in the converter and that kind of thing. So we got everything prepped up here. You see, you know, the rings are filed. Michael Hicks got our receiver grooves in the block here. First time he's ever done that actually for the top fuel hoops. But he got our cylinders honed up, looking good, and got our receiver grooves cut. He smoothed the deck up for me. You can see, I mean, my buddy got some old machines, but they do a good job though. I mean, the deck is super smooth. I mean, that thing would seal with Cometics, no problem. But we're gonna put some used copper head gaskets on it. We use them a couple of times. We got a couple of sets here on the table. These are actually the gaskets I'm gonna use. Got them from my buddy Jason Tyson. He sold me a couple sets because he had to go to a different thickness. These are 50 thousandths. You can see they've already been ran because the receiver groove is pushed in there with the O-ring, where the O-ring pushes it in. But that's what we're gonna run. I'm gonna put these two new pistons here on the rods, the two that Michael had to measure the cylinders by. All the rest of them are prepped. Got everything, crankshaft here, camshaft. We got everything else put it together. So just gotta get some main bearings, and we're gonna be making smoke here by Monday at the latest, probably Sunday. So we should have some spool up videos coming up, and tomorrow going to a race in Mexico. Should be some good footage. I'm not gonna be participating. My car's not ready, and my son sold transmission out of his car because we're getting ready to do some upgrades on it. But we'll have some good racing footage tomorrow or Sunday. Don't forget to like and subscribe, turn on notifications so you get notified when we post up a new video. But we got some parts back now, so we'll be back on some footage, you know, pretty much every day we should have something or close to it.